Alright, so back in for Final Fantasy VIII. So we're going to go ahead and leave right here. And we're going to go out and meet Keistis at the main gate. So here we're just kind of walking around. Upon occasion there are various characters waiting here and all that kind of stuff. But we're just walking on out. Nothing else too different here. If you notice this little shiny thing over here, we'll walk toward it, and if you hit it, it says that there's a draw point found, but no one can draw. For that, you gotta go in the menu, you hit junction, and we select those GFs that we just got. What this lets us do is put various abilities on our character. So now we have the draw ability, and just couple more things since we're in the menu. Turn that up. And now if we hit this draw point, we're able to stock up on various magic spells. This game treats magic spells a little bit differently. They're now more of a consumable item as opposed to there's various magical skill points that you can expend to do different things. That's not really a thing in this game. And so here we are with the first of several obligatory tutorials that you can't skip. That's really great. But in any case, this is all about junctioning GFs to basically equip your stats. So any playable character you have is able to take a GF to be junctioned to them, and obviously we have only two options right now. We'll get a third one shortly. And depending on which GF you are using on which character, you're going to have slightly different stats, and you're going to be able to boost different stats and all of that kind of thing. So fairly useful stuff. Again, we're not going to do it in a way that's particularly game-breaking, because then it's just no fun. But, we'll definitely do it as well. So we're just kind of going through the tutorial here. If it's your first time through this game, you should kind of take your time and read it. It is fairly helpful, even though it is kind of annoying, especially since there's about to be a couple of these back to back to back to back. So yeah, just kind of grab some popcorn and do your little tutorial, right? So a couple different options that you can do here depending on your characters. So we'll let this play out, finish a little tutorial. And of course you can revisit tutorials if for whatever reason. This game has pretty deep mechanics in terms of how everything functions and how everything adds to the whole sum total of the characters. So sometimes it is necessary to kind of go back in and kind of look like, oh wait, what do I do for that part? But in any case, here we are on the world map. We can adjust it only somewhat. We don't have like a full 3D motion or anything like that. So we'll walk around. I want to show you an encounter real quick. So here we go. So my screen kind of glitches out. And here's our first enemy in the game. Squall uses a gunblade, which is just a sword. Has a little trigger on it that we can hit for additional damage. Keistis has a whip. So as you can see, because we did not junction any GF to Keistis, all she can do is attack, where Squall has a whole combination of different options. Magic, GF, draw, all of that fun stuff. And here we're able to knock it out relatively easily, and no problem there. One of the interesting things about this game is that it's always 1,000 experience points to level up to the next level, regardless of what level you are. So between level 1 and level 2, it takes 1,000 experience. Between level 97 and 98, it's 1,000 experience. So it doesn't necessarily get harder to level up as you go higher, but for that reason, this game uses a system where the enemies will also scale to whatever your level is. So that's something to keep in mind. What I just did there is I picked what abilities I want my GFs to learn. That way, as you gain ability points in battle, you can spend them to have your GFs learn different skills. So at this point we're going to do a different battle, but now we're going to go ahead and draw some magic. And so what I just did off camera is I went ahead and hit draw for the spells that the bite bugs have, just to kind of stock up. That way, when you equip different spells, you can see there's a slight difference between equipping scan and and all the different spells that you have at this point. Squall has a couple more spells here. So fire gives them the most magic damage. So it's all stuff you kind of want to look at. So we're going to do it one more time. There's an important enemy down here at the water. So let's see if we can get them here. And I think we did. Yes, okay, so we got 2 of them here. We are back attacked, which means we will immediately take some damage, although in this case we happen to get out first. Anytime you have 2 different enemies and you're trying to draw out a bunch of magic, you should do your best to try to take care of one of them. That way you're only taking damage from one different enemy. So in that case, I'll just let you go a little longer. So here we'll just go ahead and knock this one out here. Obviously, if the health over there in the bottom right of the screen gets to 0, it's game over, which is not what you want. So we'll go ahead and knock this one out real quick, and then we'll check out what magic the other one has. We'll do the same thing where off camera, I'll just go ahead and draw out 100 spells. In this case, they'll have 2 different spells for us. We'll draw out 100 of both, and I'll show you what those look like when we actually equip that to the magical spells. So you'll see that in a minute here. Let's continue hitting this guy right here. Okay, there we go. And we'll get hit on the other one. And then if we go to draw, and see he has 2 spells that we don't know. So we'll have Squall do 1, Keys is the second one. So the first one is Blizzard, very helpful spell, especially for the next part that we're going to do here in a second. And for Keystis, we'll get the sleep spell. So, after the battle, let's go ahead and go to Magic. And you'll see here, Keystis has 100 Blizzard spells, only about 50 sleep, but that's okay. Squall has 100 Blizzard, and he also has 100 sleep spells. I'll show you both here in a second. So if we go into Magic, sleep boosts that magic stat to an 18, which is a lot higher than what fire was getting it. So that'll be useful as well. That just means anytime Squall uses magic now, it's going to be slightly more efficient. We'll heal up real quick before we head over to Fire Cavern. So now we'll take the walk. Right from Balam Garden, if you immediately take a left and cut through the forest, you'll get there as well. That's a little forest area right there. We'll go ahead and keep going. Another encounter here. You can escape encounters as well. So in this case, you just hold L2 and R2 as if you're playing on an original PlayStation. And you'll just escape right out of the battle. Obviously, you don't get anything for it, but there's certain advantages to escaping as well. And so here's Fire Cavern. Now, I know what you've been saying. Hey, there's not enough tutorials. Let's do one more. So, in this case, we get to do one more tutorial. This is exactly what we just mentioned a second ago. This is taking the different spells that you have and attaching them to the different stats. So this is an important skill in the game, obviously. This is why we're going to take the time to draw 100 spells of pretty much everything we get our hands on. There's some spells that aren't really worth drawing 100 of, but especially in the early game, you want to take the time to do that. Not that that's particularly time consuming even, but it's what it is. And there's the little magic tutorial. Try experimenting with it, all of that. And then she'll ask, do you want another one? But we already know how to use the gunplay, so that's okay. Alrighty.